Now, the Prime Minister has told Ukraine's president he can use British missiles for defensive strikes against targets inside Russia. The announcement comes after Sir Keir Starmer met Volodymyr Zelenskyy yesterday at the NATO summit in Washington, which is continuing today. Well, let's talk to our Moscow correspondent, Ivor Bennett. Ivor, how has this news been received in Russia? Has there been any kind of reaction?
Yeah, so this is a continuation of existing UK policy. It's still significant, though, because it's a signal of intent from Keir Starmer and the new Labour government about its policy when it comes to Russia and Ukraine. David Cameron, Lord Cameron, the former Foreign Secretary, was the first to give Ukraine permission to use British missiles to strike inside Russia. That was at the beginning of May. It provoked an angry response from the Kremlin then, and Keir Starmer's comments to Volodymyr Zelenskyy have done so again today, with Vladimir Putin's chief spokesperson, Dmitry Peskov, saying this is another irresponsible step towards increasing tension and escalating the situation. We will carefully record everything and take measures. What those measures will be, we don't know, but it's not the first time Russia has made these kind of warnings. When this policy was first announced a couple of months ago from David Cameron, Russia's foreign ministry said that any UK military facility or military hardware could now become a target for Russia, whether inside Ukraine or outside. And it's that threat of retaliation that the new Labour government is clearly wary of, as articulated on Sky News this morning by the new Security Minister, Dan Jarvis.
Of course, we've got to guard against that, and of course, we've got to be incredibly careful. But what's most important is that in concert with our NATO allies, we work together to make sure that President Zelenskyy and Ukraine have got the material support that they need to defend themselves against Russia. It is an illegal invasion, the consequences of which are massive for the whole of the world, and we stand shoulder to shoulder with our allies in doing what we can to support our colleagues in Ukraine.
Now, having said all this, I think Moscow is actually more worried about what the US has said at this summit, in this NATO summit in Washington, saying that from 2026 is going to start deploying long-range missiles in Germany. Washington has said that's a demonstration of its commitment to European defence, NATO defence, but Moscow sees this as a provocation, with Russia's foreign ministry promising a military response. And Russia aren't the only ones who are angry today about this NATO summit, what's come out of it. China is too, particularly regarding a NATO statement on China's role in Ukraine. That statement, this draft statement, called China a decisive enabler of Russia's war effort. Beijing's hit back, calling that biased, malicious, belligerent. It's called on NATO to de-escalate rather than, what it says, shift blame. So if you thought tensions were high already between Russia and the West and China and the West, well, I think it's safe to say they've just increased.